Hello, Tormakers. This is a follow-up to the previous milling test where I tested Sprucam's various finish operations. You can see here these are tests 1 through 6 as shown in the previous videos, and the purpose of these tests is I want to minimize the amount of manual time that it takes to get these things to high polish finish. This is a putter that I made that I play with. You can see how this is. This is aluminum with brass inserts. It's really polished. Front, sides, top. Get a better angle there. You can see the brass inserts there. There we are. See how shiny that is? That's one of them. I have a couple of them. Let me show you one more. This one is bronze, solid bronze, has marbles, and besides cutting the rings, integral rings, I had to cut small retainer rings that hold the marbles in place. Also has a plastic face insert you can see there. Anyway, once this is machine cut, there's considerable effort in making it a high polish finish. You can see how shiny that is there, and you can get some of the reflection on the picture. It's really cool looking, but it's work. So, what can we do? Well, let's try tumblers. I looked online and experimented, or investigated I should say, vibratory tumblers and rotary tumbler, as the one you see here. I opted against a vibratory tumbler. First of all, they were too small. They couldn't fit what I wanted. These pieces are 6x6, or sometimes, or this one is 6x4. I have some bigger ones that were 6x6. Let's see if I can find a sample here, from which this is where the marble putter was cut from. You see that? It has the tabs, so I have to cut all this and then do the finishing polishing, and putters get milled on 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 sides, and polishing is an effort. So why not use a tumbler to at least go to a middle ground in terms of getting a smoother finish? So that was my thought, So I ended up with buying this thing, and after also investigating online, watching a bunch of videos of people using tumblers of the various kinds, usually they put a media in there and the parts tumble with it. Some are dry, some are wet. I tried that and I didn't like the results. I didn't like the results of having a big piece tumbling in with the media. It was a big piece tumbling with the media. It's heavy. Every time it flips over, hits, it makes significant little dents on the parts. I don't want that. I want to try to smoothen it out, not make it more coarse. So to try to solve it, I just came up with making little wood brackets such as these. These were milled on my Tormach 770. This profile matches the inside of the tumbler, and rounded edges to match the inside corners, and square edges at the outside. And the purpose of this is just to hold the pieces there like that. And so, and I just slip them in there and it holds them in place. And the reason for that is let the media tumble or rain on top of the parts, not have the parts fall all over the media when making it too abrasive. So that's the plan, and that's what I've been trying, that's what I've been testing, and that's what we're going to show in this video, so get the results of what happens when I so you can see them, use different media. Here's the first one I'm going to try, or use on it. I've tried this on other ones and it came out coarse. This is the commonly used for bullet casings. It's the pins. You can see that, the pins, they're very small pins. And like I mentioned, when I have the part flipping on top of this would actually scratch it too much. I mixed this with some other media, some little round pellet medias. I don't know if that made any difference or not, but still I was getting a little bit too scratchy. And then I went thinking of some sand media as step 2. Actually went to live in Pennsylvania, so I went to the Delaware River with two thicknesses of mesh, of screen. And I spent about 2 hours sifting beach sand or river sand. So the sand that went through the first mesh that had about 1/8 inch holes, whatever went through I kept. Then I sifted that through a thinner mesh that had about 1/16 inch holes. And whatever went through that I discarded, so I kept the stuff in between. And that seemed to be working quite well as a second step. So I'll put this thing in there as step number 2 and let all this stuff just flow around it and not have the piece fall on top of it. And the third step, which I don't really know how it works, how well it works, is using this corn media. It kind of polishes the part. You know, I don't know. To me, it does a little bit, but I'm not sold on this to how well it works in terms of what I want to do. Maybe for bullet casings it's fine, but for what I want to do, it's not the greatest thing in the world. But we'll try it anyway. So let's just get one of these set up. Show you how I do it. Let me get a base rag there. Let me see something here. By the way, the tumblers, when they say the instructions say do not place on a table or work surface. I went, what? No. What do? You hold it or place it on the floor? So I have a work surface here. I just made a little, as you can see below it, little screwed in plastic plate with holes in it where the legs fit in, and that keeps it from traveling. I guess that was the issue. It travels, if it's vibrating, it travels and it falls off. So this has worked fine. I've been testing it for a couple of weeks now, and it works well. So part 2 of this operation is just to get this piece. I already have it in here. I have the rounded edges facing down. You can see there. I place it inside here. It has a little bit of wiggle room. Turn here, you can see it. A little bit of wiggle room. See that? But actually later on, when the media gets around it, it's quite stiff. It's actually a little difficult to get out, but it comes out. Actually, I don't want to do this one first. I'll do the other one first. Let's get this guy in here. Going in like that, just sliding it in. So just slide it in. Right in. All right. Let's get our first media here. These are the pins. It's 5 pounds of pins. Dump it in. It's in there. It'll flow through all the holes and everywhere, see? And it spins a little bit, pretty much just do that tumble through it. The part staying stationary so that it rains on the part. Anyway, that's the plan. So we'll get the cover. First part of this is a rubber cover that seals it. If you're using liquids, they claim this keeps the water inside. I haven't tried any liquids, so I really don't know. I don't intend to use liquids. Then you get the metal plate, cover plate. Get these thumb screws. Let's get them on here. Instructions say you should only hand tighten them, not too tight, not with a tool. You don't want to rip the threads or anything like that, so let's do that. I also recommend tightening them on opposite sides like you do with a tire. Opposites, there we are. good. Let's put it on this thing here. Make sure it's lined up. There we go. And we'll just turn it on. Voila. And we'll let that run for about 8 hours. And we'll come back and see how it's going. We'll stop the video now and we'll restart it 8 hours from now, or tomorrow, whenever that is. Okay, we're back. I ran it in the pins for 14 hours. And let's have a look at it. It gets really dirty. Even my wood supports get quite dirty. Let's take a peek at this. See how we can get on the camera so we can see it. Try 1, 2, and 3. You can see there is some improvement in the finishes. A little smoother, not everything. On the 4, 3, and 4, which are the ones that were not milled very well. You can still see that the scratches are there, but they're not going to be removed. I just think this process will only do a very minor surface sanding. Actually, you can notice it when you look right here at transition between this part and the edge. The edge part is the part that was concealed by the wood blockings that were supporting it. You can see there, here, and right there. Even on the back you can see the difference between the edges. See if I can get a good shot there. There we are down here. I'm over here. Now let's see if I can get even closer shots here. So we can take a look at this. Get rid of this dirty rag. It's kind of hard to see. There we are, it's a little better. Let's try the other side. See how close I can get with this camera here, so it'll focus. Now the side steps are just smoothened out a little bit, but not much. So those, I guess, those are grooves that are a little bit too deep, and this process will not remove them. But you can see on number 2, which is here, it's still there. 3 and 4 were always bad. Let's look at 5 and 6. See if we can get the angle here again. See that those side steps are smoother, still there. This one is the best. That's quite good, actually. So, let's go to the next step. Next step we'll do the river gravel, or river sand, close river sand. We'll put it back in here with the grains facing down, the rounded edges facing down. Stick it in here. Get my container of sand or gravel. Let's see what it is. Here we are. Pour it in. Pour it in slowly so it doesn't make a cloud of dust, even though it's making a little bit, a small cloud right now. Now this one I filled to about 3/4 of the container. That way, even though it is raining on it, it's kind of swishing through the whole thing. Let me pull it up a little bit. There, so that'll be raining and swishing through the whole thing. It's more than just raining, I guess. So let's cover it. And we will run this one for maybe after 12 hours I will check it. So I'll bolt that up and put it on there and let it run. We'll get back to you. See you. Hello, I'm back. Had the part running for 24 hours in the gravel, and I didn't run continuously for 24 hours. I did pretty much in 3 8-hour shifts over a couple of days. I don't like to leave things running overnight when people are sleeping, and who knows what can happen and you're not aware of it. So let's look at it. Let's look at part number 1. I brought some additional light so I can get a little closer and maybe the camera can focus well on it. You can see the top is pretty good. The steps at the front are still noticeable. Number 2, let me get this straight here. Which way do I go? Up this way. And let it focus. That's also pretty good. Again, the steps. Number 3 is quite sad. I can use that term. How do I get this straight? Oh, going the wrong way. I'm kind of looking at a monitor while I'm doing this so I can focus well. And that's really poor. Number 4 is over here. Let's take a look at that. The top is poor. This is the plane operation. On the top, upper 45 degree or less slopes. And the bottom is running at a waterline operation. And that's quite good, actually. Number 5 is a combine operation. You can see some tool marks are improved, but not everything is completely gone. And number 6 is where I use a plane in 3 operations. At 0, at 60, and at 120 degrees. If I can get this at the right angle there. And that's the best of all. Pretty much because you have a lot of thin passes going over. But you can see all the tool marks are not gone. On the back, it's interesting to see where the wood blocking, let's see if I can get an angle there, the wood blocking was covering the piece. And you can see the difference in texture there a little bit. You get it there with the light to get the right shimmer. So we will try an intermediate step that I thought of, which I have some fine sand. And I'll try this for a while to see if that improves anything. Just really fine sand. I don't think it'll do too much, but we'll try it anyway, just for the heck of it. So I'll get this set up. I'll put the sand in and put it on a tumbler, and then we'll see if that does anything at all. Until next time. Okay, we're back. This is after running 12 hours in the fine sand. Let's take a quick look at them. Here's number 1. Number 2. Number 3. I really don't know how much the sand has improved. I guess I'll have to look at the video myself later on and take a look at it so I can see the differences between one and the other. Here's number 4. Number 5. And number 6. So, for the last one, we'll try the corn cob media and see how that works. Until then. Okay, we're back. After 24 hours of running the part in the corn cob media, let's take a look and see how it came out. Start with number 1. See if I can get the focus in again. And I spent some time using Brasso to clean it. Had a lot of stains from the dirty rags. So that's really good. There's number 2. We're focusing there. Number 3. 3 is really textured. Number 4. Number 5. And number 6, which is the best one. See if I can get some better angles of that one. So, yeah, I think it is an improvement. It got a very soft finishing on it. So for the last video, after this one, what I'll do is I'm going to cut this guy off and give it a hand polishing with all the tools that I've laid out on the table here. I use many things. This is a spindle with diamond tips. A bunch of needle files. I have some, actually this one is rotary obviously. These are reciprocal grinders that have little needle files too. I use all kinds of sandpapers from 120 grit down to 2000. I have a 5000 one there, you can see it, yep. I even got one time a 12,000 grit sandpaper. I use a lot of these either wood blocks or especially popsicle sticks where I cut the profiles I need to be able to get into any section, any area I need with the sandpaper. That works really cool. So, we'll see that in the last video coming up. Okay, here it is. I cut out one of the parts. That was number 6. I polished it. We'll spin it around so we can have a good look at it. The piece is about 1 inch by 1 inch. So it's quite small. I placed it on this golf ball box. It has these stripes. Helps to see how reflective it is. Looks pretty cool. Okay, I hope these videos have been instructional. They have been for me. Thank you.